girls aren't doing filler, the girls aren't doing Sculptra, not Radias, not any of those, okay? I found out because I called my friend Jamie, who is one of the best plastic surgeons in New York City. She's like the girl for faces, like very undetectable face work. And I was like, hey friend, I'm gonna be back in town and I just feel like I'm 42 and like I can see some hollowing here and I don't really wanna go crazy. I don't do a lot of things and I haven't done anything in like forever. What can we do? Should I do like a little Sculptra, a little something? And before anyone's like, oh, Sculptra will ruin your chance of a facelift. Like if you have a good surgeon, probably not, but okay, let's move on from that. And she's like, no, just block off a couple hours. I am going to move some of your fat into your face. By the way, her name is Jaime Bernstein. I'm going to tag her below so you can see her work. And if you're in New York City or anywhere nearby, you should go see her because she is amazing and her work is like, psh, okay. Anyway, the point is teeny tiny incision, either in your stomach or usually your inner thigh, but it could be another place depending on where you store your fat. And thank God I have enough fat to go around. Okay, they take a tiny bit out and then it is spun and it's made into nanofat and microfat. The nanofat, she's gonna put like just a little under here, and that's not really to fill anything. I feel like my under eyes are not really an issue that I really care about at this point. But that is just like regenerative. It makes the skin much healthier. It makes the tissue much nicer. It just kind of revives it. And by the way, if you want me to film the entire thing, I will, and I'll like show you the recovery and all of it. But the microfat, which is like a little bit chunkier, is gonna go here, the temples where I have that hollowing, and a little bit in the cheeks to just kind of support everything and bring it back up to where it was. But number one, I love the idea of not a foreign substance. Number two, I love all of the snacks that I have had going to good use. And number three, this could last like 10 years or longer. This is not like keep going for filler. And anyway, if you haven't heard of it before, you should definitely look up Nanofat and Microfat grafting. And like I said, if you want the videos, I'm gonna do it like in about a week. It's Fat Transfer Day, we're on the Upper East Side, and let's go put my ass cheeks into my face cheeks because why not? It's Dr. Jaime Bernstein's office. This is so Upper East Side. Let's look at which areas are gonna get some fat.
So the first area we talked about were the temples. And I think as people age, you get these temporal hollows. This is a beautiful area to put, the microfat into, add a little bit more volume there. The other area we talked about is here, which is like the start of the nasolabial fold. This area we inject deeper, same microfat to help with some of that shadowing, but wanna make sure we avoid any of that like fullness or like kind of almost chipmunk look that you can get with fillers. And then the last area we talked is doing some nanofat to these lines here just to help rejuvenate a little bit, and some nanofat to the under eyes.
Everything's done under local anesthesia. This is the room we're doing it in. These are some of the tools, and I just got changed into a little robe. We're ready to go. My face is marked up. These are the areas where I'm getting some microfat, and under here it's gonna be nanofat and a little nanofat here. And look, I'm an art project. I'm not gonna show you too much of where the fat is coming from because it feels a little inappropriate, but I will give you a small idea. These are my inner thighs.
Small areas that aren't numbed.
No, I feel pressure, but I don't feel pain.
Okay, perfect.
Wow, that's my fat?
Yeah.
Way to go, good job. This is just from one thigh?
Yeah, so it took about, you saw about less than 30 seconds, got this much fat out. So we'll get some more. I always like to get a little extra, and then we'll prepare it and for your face. I don't need this pink stuff, so I'm gonna basically just get rid of it, and then I'm gonna work with this fat that we have here. Cool. And I just kind of brush it around. So I think this is a lot more gentle than doing the centrifuge, which is why I like it.
So how do you make it nanofat?
So that will be where we'll use these filters. This is the first filter, so they progressively go down in size. So when I want it more structural, like cheeks and temples, I'll just pass it through this filter, and it basically makes sure there's no irregularities and it can pass through. So I do it about 30 times. Now it's freely passing, so this one is ready.
This is microfat.
This is a microfat, yep. To make the nanofat, you can see at first there's some resistance because this is a smaller filter. And so this will do another 30 times, and you can see, the fat's looking much smoother. So some people say after all of this, you get the microfat, but I prefer just the one filter for more structural stuff. And then you see a little resistance at first because this is even smaller. Now it's freely passing.
Now we're making Nanofat.
This is the Nanofat. So once we progressively go through all of them, then this is kind of that final. You can see it's like there's a lot of resistance because even though it looks thin, it's really not truly Nanofat until it passes through this filter. And then it gets basically this kind of almost pretty liquidy-like appearance, much thinner than anything we had before. Thing in here is you can kind of see like all of the fiber stuff that is taken out. So you can see like.
So what exactly is that?
It's all the like fibrous like septations or you can see all this stuff. So if you had injected it, you, especially the thin area,
bumpy.
Exactly, like you worry about all this kind of fibrous, like spider webby type stuff being in there.
Ugh. I'm still proud of it. Okay, we did one side. That's it, just over here, and you can see the difference between here and here. This is immediately after. It's pretty red. I have some markings on me, but it's not terrible. You can see the temples are fluffed up a little bit. My cheeks are a little bit bigger, and there's a little bit under my eyes and nasolabial folds, but I can go out and not look like a monster. It's been about 8 hours, and between now and tomorrow, I think is supposed to be peak swelling, but let's take a closer look. This is where the most fat and the chunkiest fat, that Microfat, went in by the temples, and I thought this was gonna be really swollen and really bruised, but it's pretty mild. I don't really feel much. Where I am feeling some swelling, I guess, is where the skin is a lot thinner and more delicate. Under the eyes, you can tell it's like a little red, a little puffy. And my nasolabial folds, first of all, there's still Sharpie there, and I don't even really want to touch it because Jamie said be gentle there and wait till tomorrow. Everything's just like a little red, a little swollen, but it's not bad. There's no serious pain. There are two teeny tiny points where the lipo wand went in on my thighs, and it's a little sore there. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit bruised. It's not terrible. It feels like I had an aggressive workout. I don't think I would wanna go running today. Not that I ever really wanna go running, but it's not bad. I guess we'll see tomorrow how everything is. We're at 12 hours now. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And one important thing to note is I have to sleep on my back. Cannot sleep on my side. No compression on that new fat. And let me know if you want a part 2 for obviously any questions, but I have a whole routine, obviously, look at this, for accelerating the healing, which is important to me for all of the obvious reasons. But on top of that, in 6.5 days, I have to be standing on a stage to do a sort of work presentation in front of many people. And I don't want to look like a totally swollen mess. I would like by the end of week 1 to be kind of in the territory of anything that's still there can be easily covered with makeup. And Jamie assured me that that will more than likely be the case if I am careful and take care of what we did here. Or if you want to talk about costs or any of the other stuff, just let me know. I'm also going to put a bunch in the next free weekly newsletter. That information is here, and I'm an open book. Ask your questions. Wait, before we go, I realized everyone's probably going to be interested to see exactly what the lipocyte looks like and what that recovery is like. Those were 2 tiny incisions, one on each thigh. And at the end, Jamie put 1 tiny stitch in each. They didn't even really need a stitch. She just wanted to make sure that I am not left with any noticeable scars. And again, we're about 12 hours out. You can see the Sharpie markings are still there. I'm not even trying to get them off. I did take a shower, but I'm not rubbing anything too aggressively, just a little soap and water. And you can see some bruising is starting, but it's not terrible. I say it's not terrible, but genuinely that's the worst part of everything, just the bruising there, because when you're walking, obviously, or for me anyway, the thighs are moving around and maybe sometimes touching each other. So that for me is the worst part. The face feels kind of fine.